Hi guys, it's me again. I'm safe. Luckily, nothing had to be broken for me to get out of the elevator. We tried like all of the push this button, push that button. I called Florida Lifts like the uh, before we called rescue to see like we went through all the different button push options for trying to disengage the lock and nothing worked. And then that's when we called the non-emergency line. Because just so you know, guys, unless it's like an emergency, like if I was trapped in there and I didn't have air, which I had plenty of air, you know, I was at risk of dehydration. I just walked outside. You know, any of those things where it was an emergency, you have the non-emergency line for your sheriff, um, city police, county police, whatever it is. Um, get those local numbers and use those instead so you're not clogging up the 911 line. If it is an actual emergency, they can still put you through to dispatch, um, and dispatch will be able to handle the call without you being on the 911 line, which that's so important. I mean, down here, obviously, we don't have as many people, so it might not be as important. But if you live in a big city, it can be the difference between life and death for someone else. If you're trapped in an elevator, that's not life or death. Um, Whereas if a call didn't get through for someone having an acute allergic reaction where they're asphyxiating, can't breathe, you know, or going down, turning blue, that is a life or death emergency. And if they can't get through because your one call is taking that emergency line, you could be responsible in a way for and you know, it's not to say that what you feel is an emergency is beneath other people's needs, but just think honestly before you dial 911. If you're thinking about dialing 911 and because something's happening, like your neighbor's annoying you, music's too loud, stuff like that is not a 911 call. Stuff like that is a local number call. Even, like I said, me being trapped in my wheelchair lift was not a 911 call. Um, for someone, it might have been, you know, especially if I was wheelchair bound, maybe. Um, but just if you're just staying calm in a situation can, and that's another thing too, is if you're taking the time to think about, is this really life threatening? If you're taking that time to ask yourself that, you're also calming yourself down because you're able to say, well, no, this isn't life threatening. So I'm fine. I can wait, you know, 5, 10 minutes for somebody to be able to get here and, you know, figure out my situation or whatnot. Um, so please, if you don't have it, look it up. Get your county, sheriff, your city, all of those agencies, get their local non emergency line, and put that in your phone. So it's just as fast, if not faster, than dialing 911. All you have to do is look in your contacts, non-emergency line. So if it is something where they need to use dispatch, just like today with me, I called, the desk sergeant answered. She's like, it's not a problem. I'm going to put you over to dispatch, and they'll get somebody over to you. And then I'm going to dispatch without having to be triaged on the emergency line. The triage, which is like where they're doing that same kind of um, rating of level of emergency. So that's what the triage is in this case, where they're rating, okay, what level is this emergency? Is it a threat to life? What is it? Um, and how's best to handle it. So in this case, she transferred me over to dispatch. Dispatch is able to just send a message to the local fire department. They came over without lights and sirens. They came over just, regular. Um, Came in. We tried a couple things. It actually ended up, they turned off the power, turned on the power, and I was able to unlock the door then. So that was good. And then they were so kind. They actually carried my boxes upstairs and put them in the house, which was super helpful. We got the video of the baby deer. My concern with that situation is Mama's missing. So the baby deer was in my yard, um, even through the whole hoopla of the fire truck being there. But then it got scared off by someone. I like went out after because I wanted to kind of watch it and see if Mama was gonna show up, and it got scared by something, and it zoomed across the street to, there's like woods across the street. So I'm hoping that it went back to a nest over there, because sometimes like the mom will leave the nest to go and scavenge, and in this case the baby's been taken out once. So the baby's like, yo, mom, where you at? And decided to go look for mom the last places mom took it. So hopefully everything's okay and the baby just went back to the nest. And nothing's happened to mom. But unfortunately, when people don't pay attention to what's going on, they kill our deer. There's less than 500 key deer left in the world, um, on our couple of islands that they're on. So if you come to the lower keys, please drive carefully and watch out for the deer. They are miniaturized deer. It's a subspecies of the Virginia whitetail, but miniaturized. So they're going to be smaller. Um, don't call them to your car. Don't try to feed them. That's ways that get them to feel comfortable around the road. I had one deer I kept having to try and shoo off of the road because some moron had thrown food, I guess, out their window in the middle of the road. And so the deer is standing in the middle of the road eating something off of the road. And so it's like kind of a blind bridge right before that intersection. So it was just a really dangerous situation. So please don't be a jerk. If you're around wildlife, it's wildlife. Don't feed it, don't touch it. You can be the reason why it ends up getting killed. So, thank you guys. I'm safe. I'm sound. I got some videos to make of some stones. My box that I had today was my containers for all of the stones I have coming from Imperial Cabochon. And I still have so many Imperial Cabochon um, stones to show you guys today. I don't have the light on because just I don't want to give myself a headache right now. I gotta lower the blood pressure. But I will get to that in a couple minutes. I also found another vendor, Nor Jones, I think it is. I have to look up the exact name. And we're going to be doing a big order with them. So that'll be something to look forward to coming up. They have a really interesting thing on their Etsy page that you can buy $350 worth of items in their store, and then you can get 200 randomly selected stones for free. So look at their stuff. If you're buying a lot of things, um, you may want to talk to them about bulk buying of stuff because you may be able to work on some pricing with them. They seem open to um, price adjustments if you're gonna buy a lot of stuff. So we will talk later, guys. I will be doing some videos for Imperial Cabochons. See you later. Bye.